Hello, welcome back to another episode of I, Captain of My Ship. Today I like to talk about a situation I had with a police officer when I was traveling through the US. Before I like to tell this story, I want to remind you, of course, of the introduction workshop I will give, and I hope to see you there. And we will talk more about how do you give space for emotion and limits to behavior with children, because it can be a challenging time sometimes. And of course, I like to tell you more about this, and you can find more information about when this information workshop will take place and where, and about the price. You will have more information at the description below. And now I will continue and give a little bit more background about the story that I will start to share with you. It was 2018 when, after our divorce, I was traveling through the US with the 4 children. At that time, 13, 16, 18, and 20 years old. We started our journey in New York and we drove till Los Angeles. So it was a road trip. So I was driving the car as an adult. And before this event with the police officer, 2 days before, I was also driving to another city in the US, and I was caught by the police twice in one day because I was driving too fast. And they were absolutely right about that. So I had to admit, and the first time was a warning, the second time, of course, I had a fine, and it was correct. So just had to pay. Was okay. My fault. Absolutely right. Correct. But because I was traveling for 6 weeks in the US, and it was just before, 1 week before I would go home. So I thought, I don't want another fine, and I don't want to upset a police officer anymore because I'm driving too fast. So from this moment on, I will not drive faster than it's allowed. So if I can drive only 60 miles an hour, even though I do not agree because it's way too slow, I will obey, and I will just drive 60 miles an hour. So no discussion there. So now I was traveling from the National Yosemite National Park. Beautiful park, by the way. If you ever visit US, it's really worth those national parks. It's wonderful. Yosemite Park. Wow. I was impressed by the beauty of nature there. But well, we moved from the Yosemite Park to San Francisco. So I was driving the car and driving 60 miles an hour, automatic, and I was not crossing that. So I knew that there was a speed limit 60 miles an hour. So I was just driving that, and everyone was passing me. I didn't mind. I was just driving the speed limit, and I was not disobeying the law. So here I am, everyone passing me, and I see the signals 60 miles an hour. So I'll keep driving 60 miles an hour. I don't mind if everyone will pass me. I'm okay with that. I'm allowed to drive 60 miles an hour. I will drive 60 miles an hour and not faster than that. So that's a little bit background. And when I was driving, I wrote things down in my journal when we were traveling every day a little bit, and also this event with this police officer. All of a sudden, when I was driving 60 miles an hour, there was a police officer that was passing me, and it was and he was driving in front of me. So, and after he had passed me, he started to drive really slow. And I thought, oh, well, what is he doing? And I wrote down in my diary what we thought in the car. We all thought the same in the car. Me and my children, we thought, because he had an antenna on his roof, we thought that he is measuring the speed from people who would come the other way. that was coming our way, and he is measuring the speed. That's what we thought when we were sitting in the car. So that's maybe why he is driving so slowly, 5 miles an hour or something. It was really, really, really slow. So I thought, okay, he's doing that because he's doing his job. He's measuring the speed from the people coming towards us. No problem. Let him do his work. So I was watching the signals on the road to make sure that I was, as soon as I was able and allowed to pass the police car, I would pass the police car because there was bad traffic coming. There was a lot of bad traffic coming because of this slow speed. So I thought I will help the people also to move on faster. So I will pass the police car as soon as I can. So I was watching the road. And when I was watching the road and see that, okay, now is the time for me to pass. It's safe. There's no car coming towards us. And the road tells me, the signs on the road tell me that it's allowed to pass a car. It's safe. So I obey all laws. It's okay to pass a car. So I will pass the police car. So that was what I did. So as soon as I wanted to pass the police car, he had his sound on with the siren. I was like, woo. I didn't know what was going on. So I was, what is going on? What did I do wrong? And when because I wanted to pass the police car, of course, that was my intent, so that we could all move on and all the people behind me also, and he could still do his job. So I thought that I was helping. But instead of helping, this police officer became really aggressive. And he didn't want me to pass. And I had no way to turn backwards, forwards. He was just keeping me in that lane. But there were traffic coming towards me. So I was in panic mode, like I'm in this car sitting with my 4 children, and I want us to be safe. I don't want us to be in danger. So I was not able to get to the emergency lane. So because this police car kept driving next to me, so that I could not pass him by or speed when I would turn down my speed, he would also turn down his speed. So it's really being a bossy for me not to pass in any way. So I couldn't get behind him, not in front of him. I couldn't go anyway. I was just stuck with this police car and driving me crazy because there was this traffic coming towards me. So I said, I want to get to safety. I want to get into safety with my children. I want to go to the emergency lane. So I don't know what happened, but somehow he must have given me a little bit of space so that I could uh, uh, get to the emergency lane together with him. And all the traffic stopped. So it was a long traffic. Many, many, many cars behind us. They were all watching us. And I was stepping out of the car. He was stepping out of the car. And I don't know what happened, but he just lost his mind. Really. I had no idea what I had done wrong. And then there he came out of his car. And what did he say? Why did you pass me? Because there are many people behind me and there's too many cars. So I just wanted to pass you so that we could all continue our road and just move on. So we can all go faster. And then he said, it's correct. There are people behind you and I want them to keep behind you because there is a fire in front of us. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I really didn't know there was fire. So I'm sorry. So I apologized immediately. Nee, I see your driver license now. He was really shouted out of his mind of angry. I was like, okay, here's my driver license. Where are you from? Netherlands. Sorry, Netherlands. Is it normal in the Netherlands to pass a police car? And I said, yes, it's normal to pass a police car in the Netherlands. Sorry, yes, it's normal. And then he said, in the US, it is not allowed to pass a police car. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I really didn't know. I'm sorry, no one ever told me, so it's the first time I hear this. I'm so sorry, police officer, please. Sorry. And he again shouted at me, and he was so angry. He said, I have never been this angry in my life before. I said, yeah, I can see. Sorry. I'm so sorry. And then he said, I will not give you fine this time, but be aware of the rules we have here in the US. I said, okay, sorry, I will. I want you to stay in the emergency lane. That's your punishment. And stay there till everyone passed you, and you will be the last car to drive forward again. I said, okay, I'll take that punishment. No worries. I'll stay here. Be calm. So then he continued, and all people were, of course, watching all of us. Probably enjoying the view and the whole scene, but they were passing and going their way. And oh my God, my knees were, and I was shaking, and oh man, I felt so terrible because I'd crossed the line. I didn't even know I was crossing a line, and I was upsetting someone. I didn't want to upset anyone, so and I still upset someone. It was not my intent. So, and the police officer thought I did it on purpose, and I wasn't even aware of I was crossing a line. So it was just a mess, this whole situation. And why did I wanted to share this with you? Because the police officers are there, of course, to help us keep the law. And in many cases, it is, of course, there are rules to protect us. And like wearing a seatbelt, it's really for your own safety. I know, I'm aware of all those rules, and not to drive too fast. So I was not driving too fast, but sometimes different rules show up because you are driving in a different situation. And when I wanted to pass the police car, he had no sirens, or so there was no sound at all. But as soon as I wanted to pass, he started to make lots of noise. So I really had no idea it was not allowed to pass a police car. So my tip, if you ever go to the US, never pass a police car, please. I learned a lesson in a hard way. So that's it. My lesson for the US to visit. It's worth visiting, but be aware of the police officers. don't ever pass them. Okay, then now I'm just there, and as a parent, you are also there to give rules to your children, to help them raise in a safe environment. Of course, you have rules. You try to give space for the emotion, and you keep your boundaries, of course, and they are there. And it's good for children to have boundaries. But how do you act when they are crossing a line, or you think that they are crossing a line? Are they aware that they are crossing a line? Did you ever explain the boundaries that you have to your children? Is it a new boundary? Are they already used to the new boundary? Do you expect your children to immediately listen after explaining it once? Is it really fair? I want you to look at your own situation in the coming days and coming weeks. Is it fair what you expect from the children? Have you explained to your children what the rules are? And are you willing to keep your boundaries? I do not say don't keep your boundaries. It's not what I assume to say. I just try to tell you, be patient with your children and keep your boundaries and keep reminding them about the boundaries. But you don't have to shout to make sure that they keep the boundaries, because children are more than willingly to listen to their parents. But please be aware of your tone of voice, because this event happened, I had a very bad experience, as you can imagine. And it had quite an impact on me functioning again in the Netherlands with another police officer and another situation. I will talk about it in the next episode. But it had quite an impact, this situation. So be aware of how you act towards your children. Try to be patient and act in love, keep your boundaries, keep explaining, and help remind your children in a way of love. And how can you keep that love and that boundary and keep it and make sure that you have uh, the energy to keep calm? Make sure you look after yourself. Look after yourself carefully. Make sure that you have your times to upload your energy during the day. Keep looking at options and don't think in problems, but think in more possibilities. How you can make sure that you are in full of energy. When you are in full energy, in positive mind, you will be a different parent and you will be more able to raise your children in a loving way and help them keep the boundaries in a loving way. And I know you can do this. I know that all children are different. I know every situation is different. I know every parent is different. So there's not one way, but be aware of how you act can have quite an impact on a child's. And I hope this story helped you to remind you of the impact that you have as a parent and that you have everything you need already inside of you. I know you're so much stronger than you think you are. Everything you need, you already have. So, again, if you want to know more about how you can give space for emotion and also limits to behavior, I would more than be happy to welcome you on my introduction workshop. More information below. That's it for today. Talk to you next time. Bye bye.